Hey guys, Francie and Simone here. So, as some of you may know or may not know if you follow me on Twitter, I've never read Carve the Mark. I've never wanted to. However, that's changed so much. Now I actually want to read the book. And here's why. So, a brief history. Most of you probably know Carve the Mark is by Veronica Roth. It came out January 17th, I think. I think it's by HarperCollins. And it's hit the New York bestsellers list. It's #1 on the list recently, if not this week. And there has been a lot of controversy about this book. When it first came out, I think it was sent out as a sponsorship to a lot of booktubers, and they kind of gave it pretty good reviews. I remember people reading it, and they were saying it was pretty good. And I was like, oh, that's surprising, because Roth's Divergent series went pretty bad. My own personal history with it is I read Divergent, I read Insurgent, and I liked Divergent. But then as I was reading Insurgent, I was kind of starting to get irritated. And then it made me think about how Divergent wasn't all that great. And there's a lot of world issues that I still didn't get with that one. And at the end of it, I was just like, you know what? Why would I read Allegiant? I'm not that excited for it. I'm not that interested in it. It dropped me. The world's weird. The characters are kind of, And the plot's kind of a stretch, right? You know, like it's the snowflake method going on. So I wasn't feeling it really, and I wasn't feeling her writing. So I wasn't all that interested in picking up Carve the Mark. But then a lot of people were saying good things about it. And then a lot of people started saying it was racist after a lot of people said good things about it. And then those people who said good things about it were like, oh my God, I guess it is kind of racist now that I'm thinking about it. Like, oh shit. Fuck me. Maybe I should have like really thought about it more. Anyways, my whole opinion on it was, well, I wasn't going to initially pick it up because quality of writing, that's what I go based on, guys. And I didn't think it would be there, and I didn't want to give Roth the chance this time around, maybe the next time or after I heard a lot of positive things. And so I left it on the back burner. A few months goes by and everybody's talking about Carve the Mark because it's so fucking problematic, right? Like I cannot get away from this fucking book. A book that I have decided I don't want to read, I can't get away from it because everybody keeps talking about it, about how problematic it is, and it's so hurtful, and it's so harmful, and it's hurt me, and I'm hurting, and I don't want to read it because it's hurtful, and it's problematic. Like, I swear to God, every day on Twitter, somebody was saying something about Carve the Mark, or they were like harassing people for taking like pictures with Carve the Mark, and I was just like, damn, for a book everybody seems to be hating on here, this book sure be front center of everybody's conversation. Then, lo and behold, I think it was today or maybe yesterday, I don't know, I just read it today, Veronica Roth dropped a blog post saying, you know, I've heard a lot of things going on, and I just want to respond the best I can. And y'all. Wow. So guys, let's just get to the blog post. I'm going to link it down below. I think it's worth giving it a read. It's not that long, and it's interesting. Essentially, she gives out a step-by-step of her writing process and her research process through developing the book. And I have to say, me and Veronica could probably be good friends because that chick, she be dropping that like shady ass like pettiness, but she be eloquent with it. There's a certain point where she talks about language in her book, and a lot of people were equating it to Arabic language or North African language. And Veronica was like, what? I was in Romania and was hanging out with some Hungarian folk, and I like a lot of the sounds in their language, and that's what I used. What y'all talking about Arabic? Y'all racist as fuck. You know other people have harsh dialects, right? Then she brought up religion, and I swear to God, in her post, this is not verbatim, obviously. This is just how I read it, and I know there's a bit of shade thrown out there where she's saying that everyone's subtly been racist, which I'm not going to disagree with her on because people do this all the time. But she was like, so as I'm pretty sure you know, Arabic, Islamic, North African, those are all different things. You don't have to be Arabic to be from North Africa, and to be Arabic is not to be Islamic. So let's separate religion and language, guys, because wow, they're not the same thing. And I was like, girl, the shade, the shade. She said it, the shade. Now, guys, I do want to throw in here that I do see this a lot of well-meaning people, and I'm not talking about white well-meaning people. I'm talking about everybody who thinks that just because they are marginalized or they're on the diversity train that they can't inherently be racist or say racist things, and they do this all the time, even though they're trying to be polite or be kind. Y'all just be grouping motherfuckers like it is nothing. And you know what? The thing is that we're all ignorant to a lot of different things, so it happens. But to stand on a high horse while it's happening is not a pretty look. So anyways, so Veronica Roth, she talks about that, and I thought that was interesting, but she's petty, and I like it. But anyways, go ahead and read the article for yourself. That's just what I'm those are just a few snippets that I picked up from the article. And I mean, like, you can honestly say she wasn't being petty, and you can say that she was being petty, and it was beautiful petty. And I mean, honestly, I like the article. I like what she has to say about it. And at the end of the day, I would not have read her book. But given all of the stuff she talks about and what went into her book, plus it's sci-fi and it's fantasy, now I want to read this shit. I'm interested. And this is kind of my point I want to get into is how vested everyone was into shutting down and putting down this book. And yet, hear me, I talk about diversity a lot, guys. I honestly promote it. I want us to be more diverse as readers. I want us to be more diverse as writers, thinkers, etc., etc. And yet, I'm over here like, oh, you said that book's problematic? Well, I'm interested to read it. It sounds really interesting. Like, how did I go from someone who didn't want to read the book because it didn't sound like it had great quality to someone who is totally interested in it? Well, that's what this video is all about. So the initial reaction to her blog post that I saw on my Twitter timeline a lot was it was very dismissive of discourse. Everyone is saying something about this book, Carve the Mark, and a lot of people are making assumptions about Veronica Roth as a person. And Veronica Roth took her sweet time to, say, hey, I know you guys have been talking about it, and so here's just my little authorial input on it, but that's all I'm going to say because, it's just a piece of work. Y'all can talk about it and discuss it as you want. But, I'm out now. And the immediate reaction was, or you could just say sorry for hurting a lot of people. And guys, I have a really big issue with that kind of a response. It's extremely dismissive of discourse. It was essentially, I didn't get the response I wanted from her. Because this book was read by quite a few people and some of those people found it problematic, you should just apologize because some people were hurt. If one person is hurt, you apologize for it. And after reading the article, I'm like, well, all this stuff that everybody says that was harmful and problematic about it, she seemed, whether it's backtracking or not, she seemed to say this had nothing to do with any of the cultures you guys are pulling from. There are other cultures in the world, and I'm sorry that you thought that there are only a few and that I pulled from those few. Actually, I pulled from different ones, from different places. And I can do that because it's called inspiration. To say that she's gaslighting or to say that she should just apologize to me is highly dismissive. It stops all types of conversation. And you know what? I've really been skirting this for a long time, and I've kind of mentioned it in a small piece in one of my other videos. And I didn't want to outright say it because I don't want people to feel insignificant. I don't want people to feel like their voice doesn't matter because everyone's voice does matter and everyone's voice can count towards something. However, when you are a part of a marginalized group or you're part of a minority in thinking and color and however you set yourself up as a minority, if you are part of a minority, it means that you are a part of the smaller number and everyone else is part of the bigger number. And when you want something to change, but you're super dismissive of what the bigger number says, odds are already stacked against you. You're still part of the smaller number. You gonna have to come up with some different kind of tactics besides, bitch, say sorry. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, I hate to laugh because I'm honestly pretty disappointed in a lot of people's reactions and a lot of people's behavior towards this. I think that the general consensus is, first, you should never attack an author for their work. You should always criticize the work. Yet everyone's first instinct when it's something that they don't like or something that affects them on a moral level, their first instinct is to attack the author. Now, I get it. You guys saw my other video, Triggered. You know that that was my first instinct and I completely understand. However, if you go and say that you got principles, you should probably hold to them principles because you had them for a reason, right? I'm saying that in general, our community is really small, honestly, and shouting at people clearly doesn't make any difference because the book is still number one on the bestsellers list. And chick could wait a full month after her book came out before she even said anything. And it's been like 2 or 3 months since people have been calling it out as problematic and this and that. The publishing company said nothing. They don't care. And Veronica Roth was like, I have time now after I've done marketing my book. I'll let you guys know, like, because you guys are important to me. So I'm going to just let you know now that I have time where all my research came from and where I actually pulled stuff for this book. Because you guys seem completely like throwing shit out of left field here. And I just want to clear some stuff up. Like, if she could do that and wait 2 months to do that, that should tell you something. Our voice is already small, but being dismissive towards any type of discourse makes it insignificant. And guys, a lot of people throw this word out there. Harmful, it was hurtful, it hurt me, blah, 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 blah. Let's be 100% honest here. Hurt feelings mean nothing. People talk about, oh, white tears. Like, oh, she's upset because we don't like her book because it's hurtful. She can cry all day. We don't care. Like, okay, well, if that's the case, why do you guys think there's a double standard here? Why do you guys think that just because you crying, people don't care? Like, at the end of the day, nobody cares about hurt feelings, whether they're yours, whether they're somebody else's, whether they're whatever. People have lives. People live their lives, and people's lives don't revolve around everybody else's insecurities. So let's just get that out there right now. Hurt feelings mean nothing, but factual, intelligent discourse does. It means a lot. But when you feel it with emotions and my hurt feelings, and you just shout and I want an apology, people gonna be like, bitch, who you? Who you? You want an apology? And write one in the mirror, because I don't know you. I don't care. Is it not prevalent today? Look at who our president of the United States is. Is it not prevalent that all of this shouting has been into a void? Because even though there are people on the other side of that void who have ears and who can listen, when you shout at them, they put you on mute. Another example is Jodi Meadows is coming out with a book, and she just had a cover reveal, and it was the first black girl in a dress on a fantasy cover for a young adult. Now, a lot of people are saying it's the first, but it's actually not. There are other books that I've read that actually have black characters on the front, and they were fantasy. DJ McCall had a book, like The Rivers of Zara, that the main character is a white boy, but the main character in that story as well was a black girl, and they were both on the cover. So I mean, maybe single in this kind of element of today of pretty girl in dress, at least, like now it's pretty black girl in dress. So there's a first for that, I suppose. However, a lot of people were angry because it didn't go to an African American author. Now, thinking about it, maybe there's a lot of anger stemmed from the fact that there's another African American author coming out with a fantasy series from the same imprint, but her book is coming out later than Jodi Meadows, and so Jodi Meadows gets to do her cover first. There seemed to be a lot of, no, that's terrible, you did it wrong, that's horrible. And again, this is what, when you're always angry about any and everything. Honestly, when I first looked at it, what it meant to me was, wow, I really would have loved and wanted to see a lot of that when I was a kid in a bookstore. But for me as a kid back then, I would have been stoked to see that. I would have been like, wow, fantasy with a black girl? Let me read that book. I mean, did I need to see African American authors writing stories like that? For sure, but to be completely honest, I barely knew what authors looked like back then anyways. But the majority of people who read books don't frequent BookTube, and they don't frequent Book Twitter. They go to Barnes & Noble and they look at the book on the end cap, and that's what they do. They pick it up. But when all you do is dismiss every step forward towards something new and different, what's the point of changing? If you're going to dismiss a book cover that could have meant something to a lot of people, to me as a kid, because it wasn't under the right conditions for you, who are you actually hurting here? What matters is, as a group, we are changing and moving forward into a prosperous place where we are all equal and we all look at each other for what we bring to the table, not the color of our skin when we sit down. And I want to clear something else up, like real quick right now. I know a lot of people seem to think that unless you're angry and rude about shit, you're being nice and passive. First of all, y'all, you guys know I'm not a nice person. Like, I am inherently kind and I'm a respectful person, but I'm not inherently nice. I am way too introverted to be nice. Not that introverts aren't nice, but I am not an extroverted enough person to be super nice. Like, I know super nice people. I'm the bitch who's like, hey, yo, what's up? Okay, leave me alone. I gotta read. Like, yeah. I don't care. Get out of my face. I need to go read a book. So when I talk about not being fucking rude, or if you're gonna talk about a topic in a conversation and engage someone on it, you probably shouldn't be an asshole about it because that person's not gonna listen to you. I'm not saying you should be nice and tolerate their ignorance or their rudeness. No, I'm not saying you should be nice and lay down and just hope that things just, magically get better because you were nice and you showed them how nice you could be. Fuck no. Just be respectful and have a respectful discourse and use facts to talk about things. If the person's a fucking troll, you should probably get out of that conversation. This is something I don't understand, but I see constantly people, especially on Twitter, dialoguing with trolls and then holding up this troll as like the reason why we need like awareness for diversity. What? You're talking to a 12-year-old crazy who just wants the lulz of making you fucking angry, and you're gonna be like, this is why we need awareness because these people are terrible. Like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Change happens by intelligent discourse between two people willing to compromise or come to meeting of the minds and understand each other. No one's saying to be tolerant of someone who hates you. That's stupid. You should stay away from people who hate you. No one's saying to be tolerant of people who want people like you dead. That's stupid. You should really stay away from people who want people like you dead. Like, that's just not healthy. Dialoguing with people like that to change the world is so preposterous. It blows my mind. It's literally like going to the most extreme person in the room and saying, you know what? You need to compromise and come all the way over to my side because the grass is far greener and you're stupid for being on this side. Like, no, you don't talk with people who are extremists or who are crazy or people who are just trolling you for lulz. You have intelligent discourse with people willing to engage with you on intelligent discourse, and you keep it respectful. The moment that you get disrespectful with somebody but demand respect is the moment you get, bitch, back the fuck up. I mean, I do that all the time. And guys, this happens to me whether I'm having a conversation with somebody who just generally is unaware of what's going on in the book community, or someone who is in the book community and they're fighting for diversity. People will fight me hard saying, no, you just have to be angry. No, I'm hurtful. This was harmful. And that's just it. And if you don't agree with that, you're racist and you're a terrible fucking person. Oh, wait, you're black. Well, if you don't agree with that, then you're backwards as fuck. Like, you just have self-hate. Wait, girl, what? All I said was it was a bad quality book. So maybe we should be focused on finding quality books instead of up talking bad quality books that also have problematic content. Like, what? I'm trying to have a respectful conversation with you, but you just called me a self-hating Negro. Like, I'm confused. But we supposed to be on the same side, fighting for diversity? What? What? You can't even have a conversation with somebody. How you gonna fight for something? How you gonna fight for equality and for the good of mankind, and you can't even have a decent conversation with another human being? And guys, I'm not tone policing at all, because I've been called a tone policer too, and I honestly don't give a fuck what kind of tone you use when you do stuff. But however, I always reiterate this message. Make sure you know the consequences of your actions and how they affect other people. Because, guys, again, we are a small voice. I know we're fucking loud, and a lot of us live in an echo chamber where we're super fucking loud, so we think that our voice is like heard everywhere, and we're really confused when things don't work out the way that we thought they would. But 100% serious and honest, our voices are very small, and when we become divisive with people, because anger and verbal violence always creates division, when we make things very divisive, we make our voices even smaller and more insignificant. The ironic thing is I support diversity, yet the only thing, as a fair-minded person, the only thing that this entire conversation about Carve the Mark has done has increased my interest of a book I was never fucking interested in reading in the first place. Like, I saw the words Veronica Roth and I saw Divergent flash in my mind, and I was like, oh, pull the brakes on that shit, I'll pass. And now I'm like, oh, Veronica, not only did I get an insight on you as a person, so I'm interested in the things that you've done in your life. Now I'm also interested in reading a story that seems up my alley in general. Science fiction mixed with a dash of fantasy, and it's got some cultural things in there, like, interesting. But it's funny because now I will likely invest time, I will likely review it on my channel, and this is something that everybody wanted to know was a book that should not be read or digested in general. And here I am as someone who speaks on diversity often. When you think that does with people who honestly really don't care about the topic, it makes them highly uncomfortable because even when they have feelings about the topic, they feel like it's such a hostile topic that they shouldn't jump in and talk about. I just really want to talk about the effect that we have. I mean, honestly, guys, I'm constantly muting people, so maybe it's just the people that I'm following who are completely divisive. However, like I rarely see positive push forward for things that are amazing or things that are diverse or things that speak on something different. I see more negative stuff about books than I see positive stuff about the books that I should know or should get to see or read. I mean, a lot of you leave comments down in my videos about books that are super diverse, and I never knew it. Mainly because I haven't read the books before, but also because they're, even though they're new books or they're books that have been out there for a while, I never see them talked about on my timeline when people talk about diversity. But I see the ones that people don't want me to read all the time. I see people talking about them all the time. I see people bashing books that haven't come out all the time. And like, it's crazy because I know more about the books that haven't come out yet that people are shitting on than I do about the books that are already out that are super diverse and super interesting or whatever. And then on top of that, again, maybe it's just my Twitter timeline, but people talk about diverse books, but they never talk about what's actually the book is about. Like, they'll be like, there's a lesbian in this book. And I'm like, okay, but does it have dragons or something? Like, pirates? What? Like, so she's a lesbian. Is it a romance? Is it just about sex? I don't get it. Like, why would you only say that there's a lesbian in the book? This book has black people in it. Okay, I'm black, but you know, I'm more than just black. Like, I'm a multifaceted fucking person, and I would hope that this book is multifaceted. Like, what's the plot like? Is it contemporary? Does it have some fantasy elements? Is it sci-fi? Look at the way we talk about diverse books versus the way we talk about problematic books. Like, we will get into why a book is problematic, all the juicy details about this, about how she probably stole this from here, or he stole this from this, or how I'm hurt because my culture, we have face tattoos, and I'm pretty sure that this white dude doesn't know anything about a culture with face tattoos, and he's probably using from my culture, and I'm hurt right now because people do that to my culture, and I haven't read the book, but I'm really upset, and oh my god. And let me tell you what else happened in this book I haven't read. But then on the same note, oh, this book has Native Americans. Well, damn book, bitch, I know more about a book you haven't read than a book with Native Americans that you have read. What kind of craziness is that? So all I want to say is, you know what? Back when I was talking about how being angry all the time only leads to more anger and it doesn't solve anything and it doesn't get anything done. Like, now I am to the point where people's anger is steering me towards a book that I never would have picked up. Like, what kind of craziness is that? And then on top of that, you know what? I never would have clicked on Veronica Roth's blog post where she gave her like dissertation about her book if people weren't like so up in arms about it. And it's just crazy to me. It's like when you're mad about something, you just shout it to the rooftops so that everybody can hear you and justify you feeling upset about it. Because you're upset, you need other people to be upset to validate why you're upset. It's crazy. Carve the Mark has some of the best marketing out there, and it all has come from word of mouth about this book. Like, I haven't seen Carve the Mark in any other type of advertisement as much as I have on my Twitter line. And to me, that just, it boggles my fucking mind. So at the end of the day, yes, it's on the New York bestsellers list. And you know what? I could be absolutely fucking wrong about our impact on book buyers and stuff. Like, we could actually have a huge impact, and that makes it even 10 times worse because damn, it's on the New York's bestsellers list. Either our impact is super insignificant and people just buy books based on, for all sorts of complex reasons and get recommendations from all sorts of complex places, or we're really big and influential on BookTube and on Twitter, and all that negative talk about a book you didn't want people to read was free publicity for that book, and people went and bought it, and it's on the New York's bestsellers list for multiple weeks in a row. So I don't know which one is more depressing. So at the end of the day, honestly, all I can say is be aware of your actions and the consequences of those actions. It doesn't matter what you do. If you decide to be a disrespectful person, then, own it. If you're going to be a respectful person, try to always be respectful, or at least be aware of when you are and when you aren't. And, just know the consequences of your actions. Don't be fucking surprised when crazy shit happens. I mean, stand true in what you believe in. If your principles are for equality and love and peace for everybody, then, you know, don't be picking and choosing, because no, your actions, when you pick and choose, consequences. And gosh, I swear, every time I don't think I have like anything to discuss, or that, like, you know, my discussion videos, I'm like, well, let me start doing something else because I don't have anything to discuss. Y'all just be dishing this shit out to me. So thanks for that. Now, guys, I'm going to wrap this up and skedaddle and get going. So, guys, in the comments down below, let me know what you think about the whole Veronica Roth thing. Let me know if you've read the Carve the Mark and what your opinions were on it briefly, about the book. Like, no judgments for me. Will I read books that other people find problematic? Fuck yes. Like, no offense. If a book hurt your feelings, that has nothing to do with me. I'm still going to read that book if I think that that book may have quality or not. But y'all know I be getting my shit from the library anyways before I buy the shit, so there's that. But, you know, my opinion is always going to come from myself and not other people, so I will never judge y'all for reading problematic or weird fucking content and shit. You know, to each their own. To be honest, the only thing I'm ever gonna judge you on is if you got opinions on a book that you ain't read, or you don't critically read a book, you just be skimming that shit and you like, I got opinions. I'm gonna be like, bitch, what opinions you got? You read like 3 pages. What opinions you got? Like, that's the only thing I'm gonna judge you on. And even though I judge you, I still love you. Like, I judge everyone in my life. So, when I remember what I said about I'm not nice, I'm kind, but I'm not nice. So on that note, I do want to let you guys know I'm thinking about doing a live Q&A for my cover reveal of my second book, Darkness Comes at Dawn, in the Guardians trilogy. So if you're interested in that, just leave a comment down below as well, letting me know that you're interested. The questions can be about anything, whether it's about my books, or whether it's about writing, or anything in general. Just don't be asking about me and my personal life and all sorts of weird questions. Like, if you start asking weird shit, I'm just gonna be like, stop. And with that, guys, you know, you can always find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads. So T2YL, ta-ta for now. Bye!